Wearing the Canadian hat, got it as a gift, was just outside enjoying the beautiful weather. So the hat stays on. When I used to be a gigolo, that was my policy. Everything can come off, but the hat stays on. Lucifer Almighty, 10,000 pine points. Jerome Rumson, 5,000 pine points. Cyanectin Niction, 1,000 pine points to you. And Soothsayer, you are a loser. Nobody loves you. You might as well leave. Okay, so you can submit your complaints two ways. You can do it through Whereby, and you can do it right here by tagging me. If you don't know how to click links or tag people, then you should also leave because you're not good enough. I've been getting a lot of complaints, especially about politics. I don't want to make this a politics live stream, but I will answer questions about that. Politics, economics, whatever. You can ask me anything or complain about anything, and I will hear those complaints. Let me get the Whereby thing set up. If you want to complain about street epistemology or about, well, you should leave those poor Muslims and those poor Christians alone. Why are you always beating up on them? If you want to complain about that, you can. What did I do? I don't know what I did there. Oh, I know what I did. Okay. When I was visiting myself, I had a relationship with myself, sort of like what people think they have a relationship with Jesus, but it's actually a relationship with themselves. True story. Okay. I dare you to come out with a mega hat on next stream. Oh, I love that dare. Neuro poster. I'm going to make a sticky note here. Buy a mega hat and wear it. Oh, yeah. That'd be so much fun. Done. That's not a complaint. That was more of a suggestion. And I like that suggestion. Speech is inherently political, yes. Nothing is more U.S. liberal than fanboying over Canada. How fitting, given PineCreek's test result. Yeah. The thing is, see, I'm so secure in who I am. I don't care if you call me a liberal or a conservative. You got to remember that what I'm fighting for here is for you left-leaning people who are just angry and hateful over Tucker Carlson or Jordan Peterson or whatever. You got to realize, and it goes both ways, but we need each other. People on the right are not always wrong about what they say. People on the left are not always wrong what they say. There's different perspectives, different views. We need each other. And once you get older, you'll figure this out. You youngins, you're just full of passion, and the world would be a better place if everybody just voted like me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who's the president of Canada? It's called Prime Minister, and it's Justin Trudeau. His father was Pierre Trudeau back in the 80s. Justin's father actually was a little bit like Trump is a little bit like Pierre Trudeau. Pierre Trudeau, true story. I think this is true. It's been so long. He was so popular in the East that he would drive through the prairie provinces, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and he would do this. He said, I don't need your votes. I don't care if you like me. He was very Trumpish, but he was on the left. I don't have any atheist hats. Complaint, you conflate Christian with Catholic. Okay. If you're an evangelical Christian, yeah, yes, there's many evangelical type Christians who would say Catholics are not Christian. Mormons consider themselves Christians too, right? Don't pretend like I don't already have a mega hat. Scouts honor, I don't have a mega hat. But I have no problem with buying one and wearing one. See, you insecure leftists would never do such a thing because you're insecure. You guys got to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like Larry David is a leftist Jew, and he has no problem wearing mega hats. Oh, if you watch that show, you will see his spitting on you weak-minded people out there concerned about this and worried about that. You got the Oculus request? What is that? Make atheism great again. Hey, there you go. I sent my 87-year-old Christian missionary friend a link. I'm praying to God that I don't believe in that. He calls in. Yeah. If you want to call in, talk about whatever you want to talk about. If there's a Christian out there or a Muslim who wants to, I'm actually genuinely and sincerely interested in hearing a Christian or Muslim or any theist perspective on how I can do better in communicating with them. But yet I still got to be who I am, right? Like just my personality type and so forth. Like, but if you need me to hold you in my arms and coddle you and stroke your hair and say, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I can do that. I prefer not to. I prefer to treat you like an adult. I've been hearing about water running out in Arizona. What are your thoughts on that? I got lots of water, so I don't know. I have no problems. You should do more butterfly catching. You've been hitting tortoises with sledgehammer. Yeah, that's right. I get what you're saying, Andrew Watson. The progressives, they tend to like me, even though some of them hate me. I feel like Doug talks about Calvinists more than Catholics. No, I don't think that's true. Come on, I want complaints, criticisms. Tag me, call in. Don't be shy. And you know what tagging means? It's the @ symbol. It's the shift number 2 for those of you who use keyboards. Where's Doug's commentary on digital gnosis conversion? Just type in PineCreek, Nathan, and then look for old videos. Ron Rickles? I think you mean Don Rickles, Street Disciple. Is it weird to see Larry David at family reunions? No. Your taste in hats is old-fashioned. There's a critique. Like, am I doing everything perfectly fine and there's no critiques here? I do like the way you deal with Darth Dawkins. Well, thank you. I think that's the only way, well, not the only way, but it's the best way. You got to remember, most people who deal with Darth Dawkins are younger and they feel like they need to prove something. You got to stop that. Pretend you're a child at the feet of the great Darth and let him teach you great things and just repeat back what he says. That alone will make him look stupid. Okay. Did you delete the video with all the Australians? I don't know what you're talking about, but I think the answer is no. What is Wuss Wednesday? Wuss Wednesday is for you, Rebecca, to see if you have the guts to critique me, to say what I'm doing wrong. In fact, Rebecca, if you want to come in, I will sincerely listen to what you have to say on how I can treat people like you better and you better. And yet still be who I am. Like, I'm not going to try to be, who's a really soft-hearted, gushy, wishy-washy person? Mr. Rogers? I'm not going to be Mr. Rogers. But yeah, Rebecca, you can come in. Yeah, you castigated me the other day, a long time ago, saying that I'm mean or something. What would shake your faith in yourself? What's the word? When you lose your mind, when you lose your memory, dementia. There you go, dementia. Complaint: left-wing wokester atheists that try to cancel living legend Richard Dawkins. Yes, well, that's not a complaint against me. It's a complaint against Richard Dawkins, or people who do that. Yeah, I can't think of anything Richard Dawkins has said that I disagree with. It's this feel sorry for-ism mentality that we have. Let me be clear. I don't care about lesbians. I don't care about gays in the same way I don't care about most homosexuals. I treat people equally. I really do. That's why I don't care about the LGBTQ community. But they're marginalized. Yeah, a lot of people are marginalized. Get stronger. Now, I'm not for throwing homosexuals off of buildings, of course, and I would stand with them and fight against that type of thing. But if we're talking about just people talking, get Tovi on your show. I have mixed feelings about having Tovi on the show because I don't think I could help myself. I think part of me loves him, but part of me thinks that what he complains against Christians, he just needs to look in the mirror. And I think for that reason, number one, he would be very hesitant to come on my show. When you come on my channel, bring your audience. Bread of Life, what are you doing? I mean, I thought you were more like me, Rebecca, where you do this because God will provide, Bread of Life. God will provide. You don't need me to provide. Rebecca, stop putting your confidence in PineCreek and put it into the creator of the universe. But God, I know how Rebecca thinks. I know. But God's going to use you to bring the truth to other people, Doug. Yeah. Tovi on the show would be awesome. Maybe. I just, yeah, Tovia, if you ever hear this, you're welcome. But am I going to go out of my way to schedule something? You guys know I don't schedule things because then I become a YouTube creator. What is my moral compass? Well-being and unnecessary suffering is what the standard. My morality is based on Adam Zubair. Oh yeah, Rebecca, you said cruel. You called me cruel. I need to know why. I think I could guess, but I'd rather hear from you. If you want to come in, actually, tell me in the live stream chat why you would not come in right now into Whereby and tell me why I'm cruel. What do you got to lose? Debate Smokey. I've actually been on Smokey's channel. We had a very cordial conversation. I think he actually likes me, but I don't do debates, and here's why. Because number one, I don't see the utility in them. And when you say the word debate, I'm thinking of formal debate, like how it used to be done back in the day. Now we really don't have formal debates anymore and so forth. But to take the time to schedule and to plan. Now, if someone wants me to debate with no planning and where I will just admit defeat at the very beginning and turn it into more of a conversation, then it's not a debate anymore, right? Okay, Rebecca has a complaint formalized. You didn't respond to my video, me watching PineCreek watching me. Again, this sounds so needy, Rebecca. It's like I respond to a lot of people, and I have responded to you. But I did watch it, and I heard you say that I basically pegged you right on most things, a lot of things. I heard you nod your head when I was saying this is how Rebecca thinks, blah blah blah. And yeah. I get you, Rebecca. I understand you. Now your heart's all flutter, right? Isn't cancer culture the marginalized people becoming stronger? German? Becoming. I mean, they have the power to cancel you now. No, they don't have the power to cancel me. She made it. You're on, Rebecca. You don't want to show your face?
I do, but my camera it's using the wrong camera right now.
Yeah, it looks like you're in a jail cell with a thing on top.
There.
Tesaurus says, complaint, I miss your interviews with Theus. Yeah, well, I'm talking to one right now. But this is for her to voice her complaint. So I can show your face, right? Yeah, yeah. You show your face all the
Yeah,
time.
go ahead. But I can't get my camera to work, so I think I should
No,
just
I
talk
can
to
see you. Your camera's working.
Okay.
But now it's not.
It should that's my like computer camera. So
Oh, you want the
all
HD?
right.
You want to? She wants to look good for Jesus. The camera's not right. Then how can Jesus say, "Well done, good and faithful servant"? I don't mind this debate: NFL versus NHL. No, to be consistent, sounds it would be NFL versus CFL. You NFL people with your 4 downs, running the ball into traffic and then blah, and then doing it again. Come on, NFL. Subtract a down, widen the field, lengthen the field, become the CFL, and you'll have an high-scoring, exciting game. You're back.
Yeah. Okay. That's better.
A little bit. You're fuzzy, but that's the internet, not the camera.
Okay.
Okay, so what's your complaint? By the way, God exists as your shirt. Okay.
Yes. I wore that for you, PineCreek.
Oh. You're wearing clothes for me now? you see how that sounds, right? If someone just came in and never mind. Okay, what's your complaint?
Well, like I said, you didn't respond to my me watching PineCreek watching me, and I thought that would be really cool if you did that and there was like a little me, a little you, a little me, a big you.
Okay, I agree. It would be cool. And I've done something similar like that in the past. So it wouldn't have been new or unique or novel. And I did listen to it. And I heard you basically agreeing with most of what I've said. So when people agree,
Really?
yeah.
Well, I didn't agree with most of what you said.
No, when I heard you say that I get you, that I understand your version of Christianity, how you think in these areas. Didn't you say that in that video?
Um, I don't remember what you're referring to. I'm sure I agreed with some things that you said. You said like Rebecca's 500 times worse than my wife.
But that's a good thing to say because that shows you that there's nothing between us.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway.
that was my complaint. That's all.
Oh, come on. I don't believe you. You called me cruel. Now, why did you call me cruel?
Well, I didn't
Because
say
of the
you're
wife thing?
always cruel. I just said I wouldn't want you in charge of the universe. You said you would do a better job being God. And I said, that's really terrifying. Like, I would be very afraid of you being in
Oh,
charge of
okay.
the universe.
Okay, I love that. Okay. So here's why I said that and you tell me if you disagree. If I was your God, and if I was in charge of the universe, but I had like the attributes, similar attributes to your God, all
Yeah.
powerful, all knowing, all that sort of thing, I would not have created. And that alone makes me better than your God. And here's why. If the traditional view of hell is correct, and I know you don't believe that or you're not sure, there would be nobody in eternal conscious torment. That alone is better. Okay?
Right, but that's not my view of God.
I know.
It's not, I'm not
I
sure.
said
I
if
am sure.
I said
Yeah.
if that's true. And
Right.
then okay, but even if everybody goes to heaven, I still would not have created because at least not in the way that your God did, because there would be no children dying of cancer. There would be no tsunamis killing people and drowning people. There'd be no earthquakes, mudslides killing people. There would not even be anybody displeasing me and sinning against me because I would not have created. There'd be no sin. no evil, no pain, no suffering, I would be better than your God.
So it sounds to me, PineCreek, like you are making a god out of suffering. Like, is suffering really the ultimate thing? I mean, there, it's,
No,
I,
it's not the ultimate thing, but it's, do you want to suffer?
I don't want to suffer.
I don't
No.
want to suffer either. So we both are
Right.
agreed that there's a goal not to suffer. And if I was God, that goal would be achieved.
Okay.
Actually, Rebecca, you're kind of called to suffer, aren't you? So you're called to do something you don't want to do.
Do you have a problem with that?
No, no, I'm just pointing out a fact in your worldview. Because you just said you don't want to suffer, but yet you're called to for Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm glad to do for Jesus. And you know, I haven't actually had to do that very much, but I just think some people in the world are quite amazing in what they've been willing to suffer for Jesus.
Yep. I agree. But I need your help here. I wanted you to come on and give me a complaint, and not only that, but to help me get better. Because I used to have wonderful conversations with a guy named Mike Winger years ago,
Yeah.
and I see you as the female Mike Winger, and I have this fear
Wow.
in me that someday you will never ever talk to me again. And so, let's head that off at the pass, okay? So tell me things that I should avoid if I want to still have a good talking relationship with you in the future.
Um, I don't know. You're doing all right so far. What do you think you did that offended Mike Winger?
I'm not sure to this day. I think actually it wasn't anything on my channel. It was something on Twitter because he banned me on Twitter first. But and then I think I was banned not by him but his mods on his channel. So I'm not exactly sure how much of it he agrees with or not. But I do think he really doesn't like the fact that I'm so open in telling people my goal is to raise doubt in people who are Christian. And I think that really bothers him. But yet, I would think it's refreshing to hear an atheist put all his cards on the table and all my motives, and that if you are confident you have the truth, then what's the problem here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I will say there's a little bit of a dilemma for me in talking to you because, I wonder how much like space I should give to the devil.
Yeah,
And so I do kind of, see you as
I
sort of
give
the
him very little
embodiment of
space.
the devil,
Like I just
but
give him the corner and that's it. Like no more. He wants his own office, so I said no, no way. But
yeah, so I
do you
mean,
really view me as part of like
I
doing the
do.
devil's work?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
I actually I view you as a pretty close embodiment of the devil because, and I do think you're, yeah. So like because you're kind of you're interesting,
Because I'm
you're
effective.
funny. Yeah. So you're interesting, you're funny, there's an appeal. I kind of like watching your videos. Um, but there's also a very deep cruelty to what you're doing. And so I haven't really figured out like if that cruelty is like just something in the depths of your soul or if it's just a manifestation of your past pain from religion.
Which
And that kind
can you give me an example? Like you said, I'm funny and I'm engaging in all these things, but there's some cruelty in me. What exactly are you talking about? Which like how does it manifest my cruelty?
Well, the way that you approach people, you're specifically trying to make them look foolish with your questioning, like with your hypotheticals and stuff. You're trying to put them in awkward positions. You're trying, it's not just that I have a goal too, PineCreek. I want people to know Jesus, right? But I'm not like being cruel in the way that I'm trying to
Okay.
get them to know Jesus. You're trying to lead them away from Jesus, but you want to do it in a way that makes them look as foolish as possible.
Okay. Can I respond to that? So,
Sure.
um, I get that. I understand that I ask these hypothetical questions, and oftentimes they're viewed as gotcha questions. Where to start with this? There's many reasons why I do this. Number one is because I think the old ways of doing thing in communication, where either in debate form or conversational form, often gets muddied and sidetracked. And so I tend to ask these either hypothetical questions or short questions to get right to the point as quickly as possible. And I do think that the reason why you and others view these as gotcha questions that make you look bad is because it forces the nuance out of you and it forces you to be direct. And so I honestly do not view them as gotcha questions. And okay, but even if they were, let's even wipe that off the record. Even if my intention is to make people purposely look bad, which I admit sometimes it is, but most of the time it isn't. What is so bad about having someone try to make you look foolish? Like, I'm to the age now where if someone wants to purposely come in and ask me gotcha questions and try to make me look foolish, go ahead. I don't care. And so I'm trying to promote this attitude of, if you think you have the truth, what does it really matter if you look foolish? Like, in fact, Jesus even commanded, like, you will be looked as fools from the world's perspective. The gospel is foolishness to those who are perishing. Accept it, embrace it. Don't be scared of gotcha questions. Don't be scared of traps. I've often said, walk into the trap and let it snap closed. You'll be fine if you have the truth. Anyhow, that's my
Yeah.
spiel.
Well, I agree with that. But I would like that if you have the truth, then you shouldn't be afraid of any question, right?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. But it's like the heart behind what you're doing. And it sometimes does seem that you are being intentionally cruel. Another complaint, let me just add this in.
Okay.
You like really make a show of tearing people down. You know, I've seen you tear down certain people on your channel, you know, complaining about and this is a big complaint, okay?
Okay.
I've seen you complain about certain Christians, you know, a Christian YouTuber soliciting money from people.
Yep.
But you solicit money.
No, I don't.
If people are getting PineCreek, but now this is being manipulative because the way that you do it is a little different, but you're still being manipulative.
How?
You're still, because you'll be doing your stream, you'll be like, oh, thank you, like the little money sound will happen, and you'll be like, thank you so and so, thank you so and so. And so it's like you're giving people attention when they give you money.
Okay, can I respond to that very quickly?
Yeah.
People will view me cruel if I didn't, right? If someone donated $20 to me and I just ignore it, which I have done, like not on purpose because I've just missed it, but I was raised in a way, thank you, mom and dad, that when someone gives you something, you say thank you. So that's all I'm doing. But do I solicit money? I do not. I've never had a Patreon account. When I first started my channel, I was not monetized. The only reason why I monetized was because a friend of mine convinced me that that was the rational thing to do. Because why are you throwing away money? Like, even if it's not for you and you give it away, you should still monetize, because it's not like the people are actually giving it. It's Google doing it, and they can skip the videos if they want. So there's very, very little downside. The one downside I have seen to monetizing is, like, when this video stops, I don't know if you've noticed on yours, and if I go play golf or something, when I come back, YouTube puts like a ton of ads in there, and I have to go in manually and remove most of them. I'll keep a couple in. And but anyhow, yeah, I've told people this is my hobby. If someone was to start giving me money regularly, I I would feel pressure to actually do a good job. And right now I can do whatever I want, and because I can say, if you don't like it, ask for a refund, because you're not going to get one because you didn't pay anything. So anyhow.
Well, and I'm not criticizing you for making money, for getting donations. What I'm actually criticizing is you're slandering other people who do that. Like, you're complaining about other Christian YouTubers soliciting money, and you're basically tearing them
okay,
apart.
okay.
And now you know who I'm talking about, don't you? But let's not mention names because I don't want to.
No,
make
it's
it
my
worse.
channel. Are you talking about Cameron Bertuzzi and Capturing Christianity?
Well, I'm wearing the shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to be very clear. I have nothing against Cameron making money and having this his job, but where I really got upset was when he used the death of one of his patrons as a way to get money. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so I parodied that, and if I might say myself, it was brilliant.
Well, the devil's brilliant, PineCreek. The devil's brilliant and funny.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's still you're being the accuser of the brethren.
Don't you think that was a low blow, though, what he did? Using the death of someone and saying, "Okay, hey everyone," and it was like 2 paragraphs going from my friend died, and now, but he was my like second or third or biggest contributor, and so now I need to replace that. I mean, at least say that a friend of mine and a great contributor died, and then just maybe even wait a week and then ask for money to replace it. But it was like boom, boom. Like, the insensitivity of that was amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, are you ever insensitive?
Yes, but I don't have Jesus.
So, I mean, why do we have to point out?
Sorry.
Well, why do we have to point out other people's moments of failure then?
Okay, you admit it's a failure then.
If you're insensitive sometimes, if you fail sometimes
to
be totally sensitive.
Oh, I'm very insensitive. I admit it. This is why I don't go to dinner parties often, because I'll end up asking women how much they weigh. Seriously, I did that once. This is how insensitive. But this was not on purpose, of course. There was one of my good friends. His wife is my height. I'm 5'10". She's a very tall woman, and she was pregnant. And I said, "Oh man, we're the same height, and I bet you we're about the same weight now." And it was like, oh, yeah. So now I stay at home.
That's not that bad.
She did not take it well. She did not take it well. But anyhow, so, okay, the Patreon thing, complaint, I think we got through that one. But,
yeah.
But, like, what would, if I truly believe that Christianity is false,
yeah,
which I do, and let's pretend now it's true that Christianity is indeed false, then don't you see what I'm doing as a good thing, or no?
Well, I wouldn't, if Christianity is truly false, then I don't think you would need to have the morals that I have. So, I mean, I wouldn't have a moral standard about what you should do if Christianity is false.
Well, actually, my dog's barking, and I think she needs to go pee. So I'm going to, like,
Go ahead, I'll preach the gospel.
Yeah, I want you to preach the gospel as you see it for 20 seconds. Go.
Okay. So, Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins. He loves you. He's with you. No matter what PineCreek says, it is true that he died for you. And, PineCreek says a lot of things that are false about Jesus and about what he's done. But the truth is, God became a slave. He became a slave. Your slave. He served you. That's how much he loved you.
Amen.
Okay.
Did you tell him that Jesus died so people could be saved their sins, and he rose again, and that they'll have resurrected bodies someday? And
well, I didn't leave that. I left that. I didn't say all that, but that's good.
And that it's not just a belief, but it's an act of take up your cross every day and follow him. Did you mention that?
No, I didn't mention that.
But that's important, right? Especially if you read the book of James.
Well, this and PineCreek, this is what I will say. I do love when you come on my channel for this reason. You have been around Christianity and
Yep.
and you have quite a good handle on the Bible, and you're very good at bringing out theological points. So let's explore
Have
it.
you ever
Why
met an
not?
atheist who has a better handle on the Bible than me?
Um,
This is
that's hard to say
a
because
sound
there's
clip.
quite a lot of them around.
This is for a sound clip.
This is for who?
I want you to say, Pine Creek is probably the most educated person, atheist, about the Bible that I've ever seen. Please watch the Pine Creek channel if you're a Christian, and come on his channel and talk to him because he can steel man your position. That's what I want you to say. And then I'll clip it and then I'll make a.
Well, what I'll say is that when Jesus was tempted by the devil in the wilderness, the devil used scripture against him.
Yeah, so do I.
And that's likely what you're going to get on Pine Creek's channel.
But okay, you mentioned the devil and Satan so many times, but you're not scared of Satan, are you?
Well, I am wary of his power. I don't want to be like, you know, I'm more powerful than the devil. I'm not. Jesus is. But I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of power that the powers of darkness have, and so I try to be
But
careful.
you are a mature Christian, so you're not wary of me, even if it's true that I'm his ambassador or something, right?
Well, I told you I am, though. That's the thing, is like there's I'm still not sure if I should be relating to you in the way that I am. I'm trying to look on my channel. I want to give everybody an opportunity, so I let everybody come on.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you've come on, I've been very happy that you came on because you actually helped clarify some scriptural points that I wanted to make. But I'm also aware that you are,
Leading people astray.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much, space I should give to the devil. So I am wary.
But nobody can take the child of God out of the Father's hand, right? Not even Pine Creek.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to worry about.
Well, there is, because you can still get your life pretty messed up.
Well,
And,
well, in a way, even if Christianity is true, and even if I am working for the evil one in some capacity, anybody who falls away because of me probably wasn't a true believer to begin with, because of the verse I just mentioned.
well, okay, let's explore this. I don't think that's true.
Okay.
I think that, and so, there's lots of people who have clearly been believers, and you might have been one of them. I don't know, but it seems from your testimony that you were a true believer. Would you say that you really were?
Yeah, I believed I was, yes.
But now you're saying, you said I believed I was.
Well, I believe Christianity is false, that Jesus is dead, he was never God in flesh. So I
Right.
was deceived back then.
Okay. But at the time, you were a true believer.
Yes.
Okay. So then there's your answer.
Okay. But if you truly believe that there's no hell, then what's the worst that I can do?
Well, remember, I don't believe in hell as eternal conscious torment, but I believe in judgment and destruction.
Destruction?
So,
What do you mean by destruction?
like people being destroyed, people no longer existing.
Okay, but why is that so bad?
Well, it might not be bad for some people. It's a good thing for some people, right?
Yeah,
And
I'm
they
trying.
don't have to
Yeah,
suffer in a wicked state.
I'm trying to think of the worst possible thing I could do to people. If Christianity is true and I'm leading them away from it, and if you're right about hell, the worst thing I'm doing is they cease to exist.
Yep.
And some of them might even want that. because I'm not
Well,
causing their life to actually, life might even get better by leaving Christianity, right? Because walking the Christian walk is sometimes very difficult. Yes.
well, in some ways, but it's also a very fulfilling life. So it's a life of joy, it's a life of peace, it's knowing God's love. So I think you are taking something away from people.
Well, I definitely am, but I don't think, like, usually people leave over a long time, multifaceted reasons. The ones who leave very quickly are rare, unless they're very young. It's like, oh yeah, this is silly, and they're out. But I think what I do is basically reassure these waffling Christians that it's okay to doubt it, that they're going to be fine, and that they can question their beliefs, and if what they believe is true, they'll come out the other end fine. It's very like
And I would say the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
It's okay to question your beliefs.
It's
It's okay
almost
to
like
doubt. It's okay.
it's almost like I'm a Christian apologist, and they got nothing to fear.
Hmm. Okay, but you were trying to get me on take up your cross.
Oh yeah.
Is somebody waiting, by the way? You can get rid of me.
No, my
Somebody
dog is
else
just
wants to
bothering
come.
me, and so but um she's quiet now. No, I said take up the cross because I'm I like to point out to Christians that they do have to do stuff.
Well, actually, this is something I hate when Christians do this, where they like present the gospel, the good news about Jesus, as if it's a free gift. But then later on, there's like a bait and switch like, oh, here, Jesus will forgive all your sins. Just trust in him. And then, okay, they're in the club. Then, now get to work, pick up your cross. And there's this burden loaded on people that is they can't carry.
But that
And
burden
so,
is brings meaning and purpose to them.
well, but not when it is conditional upon their salvation. Like it is my joy to, take whatever cross Jesus has given me and, or whatever cross is there and bear that. That's my joy. But it's not my
Hey,
it's
I got to
not like
get
an
my dog in.
obligation.
I'm home alone today, and so preach for 10 seconds.
Okay. So anyway, let me just say right now, for those who are, part of Pine Creek's audience and also been frequenting my channel, thank you so much. Like your support means a lot to me. And I actually right now I wouldn't have an audience if all the atheists stop watching my channel. And I hope Pine Creek doesn't suggest that you do this, but I mean, really, nobody would watch my channel because my channel is 90% atheist. Look, when if I pull up like on YouTube, you know how YouTube tells you the other audiences the other channels that your audiences watches?
Mm-hmm.
Mine is all the atheist channels.
Right.
Yours,
This is what I
you're
like
usually
about
number
you.
one.
And this is but the thing is, you know why? It's once you have, let's say, over a critical mass of non-believers or atheists in your channel, the other Christians they get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And this speaks volumes. I mean, if you want me to be cruel, I mean, you don't want me to cruel, but if I were to be cruel, I would say, you flag-waving, phony, sensitive, schmucky Christians, you can't handle anything, not one little bit of pushback or criticism. And as soon as you get like over 50% atheists in there, you run like little wusses. Like,
Well, I have had a lot of Christians email me and say, look, I like your channel, but you're letting too many atheists talk on there. And I just don't want to watch it anymore for that reason.
And so the thing is, I get blocked from Christian channels in the live stream chat because even if there's like 100-to-1 ratio, the fact that me and others are there asking polite but very good questions, in my opinion, can't handle it. No, out. What's your goal here? What's your motive? Why are you asking these questions? Are you an atheist? What's your grounding for morality? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's like the defensiveness is so, it's actually becoming funny to me. It's
Yeah.
just hilarious because I can tell what type of Christian you are by how quickly you get defensive.
Mm. So do I get quickly defensive then?
No, you're not as good as the Calvinists, but
Really?
you're
What?
you're
What?
the
I'm not
Calvinists.
as good as the Galvanists?
No, the Calvinists are the
That's
best.
like great.
The precept Calvinists are the best. That not well, they might get defensive once you start actually. But for the most part, yeah, they don't care. They say, "I'm going to heaven, the rest of you going to hell." So, like they kind of like just rub their thumbs in it.
Well, I think also a lot of Christians, I've talked about some controversial things. Like actually last night I got an earful from my mom because she really wasn't happy that I had my Muslim friend on my channel for an interview. And, so like, even my own mom is not happy with my content sometimes. So, I understand.
You know
It's
what?
controversial.
Not once have I got an email or a text or anything saying, "Doug, you have too many theists in your live stream or on your show." Isn't that interesting?
Well, that's because you're making fools of them. You're bringing them on and like just tearing them up. Right?
I'm tearing the theists up.
Or even if they're present. I mean, you're pulling up videos of people, Christian apologists and stuff, and you're tearing apart everything they say. So you're just you're tearing people up. I mean, why would they complain about that?
You're making me so happy right now. You're complimenting me.
But you know what I mean? Doesn't your audience want you to tear up theists? That's what you're doing, right? I mean,
well,
so why would they complain about
that?
I
agree. Yeah, you're right. But the thing is, why aren't theists tearing up atheists and asking them to come in? Is it because they're just better people?
Well, I am.
Like,
I'm asking atheists to come in.
Well, yeah, but you're rare. Like the Mike Winger, like even the shirt you're wearing. By the way, God exists. That comes from Capturing Christianity.
Capturing Christianity. Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would. In the past, he would have, but now, I don't think he would start an impromptu live stream, ask atheists to come in. Definitely not me. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's kind of a bigger commercial channel, and like if you sometimes get crazy.
It's not bigger than me.
You just open it up to anybody, right?
He's bigger than me in subs, but not in views anymore. I don't think. He's really tailed off. Well, maybe he is because I've been busy.
But back to taking up your cross.
Yes.
You said so. What is what is the point you're trying to make? Because I think you're trying to make the point that I hate when Christians.
Yeah, I'm trying to make the point that in order to be saved, there's works involved.
And I would say no. It is a gift. You don't pay for a gift. A gift is something freely given. There are no strings attached.
And then I would bring up 1 Corinthians 6. And I'd say, is it 6? That all those who live a certain way will not inherit the kingdom of heaven.
And such were some of you. But you were washed. You were sanctified. Yeah. Okay?
But the thing is, if you believe in free will and that people can make the choices, are you saying that once you become a Christian, you can't choose to live an idolatrous or adulterous or fornicating life?
You can still do those acts, but you are forgiven through Jesus Christ. You're washed, you're cleansed. He is in a constant state of cleansing you from your sins.
Let me ask you this. You believe you're a true Christian. If from this point forwards, every day you cheat on your husband and fornicate with other men until the day you die, every day, will you go to heaven?
You're not going to like this. Your audience is not going to like this. Not only would I go to heaven, God would still call me righteous.
Okay. But then how do you interpret that verse that those who live this life live this life shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven. You're living that life.
Yeah. But I've been washed. I've been sanctified. The blood of Jesus has covered all of my sins. Hold on, I lost my headphone.
And your cat hair also covered all your sins.
What's that?
Your cat hair also covered all your sins. Is your cat shed?
Yes.
Yeah.
My pants are all covered in hair right now.
Yeah. You got to get a Roomba.
Okay. So there you go.
Okay. Well,
it's that simple.
That's like a pretty good get out of jail free card for all you young Christians listening. You can have all the sex you want. You've been washed.
Yes, you have.
Get busy.
Well, God doesn't revoke the gift.
But he gives the gift, yes?
Yeah.
Did he give it to me?
Well, by your own testimony, yes, he did.
So that means I'm actually a Christian right now.
Well, you're saying you're not a Christian.
Right.
So, but I mean, I've already told you that I believe you may be saved in the end.
Maybe. Is it
Well,
maybe, or is it
possible to be an apostate, to leave the faith?
If it's possible to be an apostate and leave the faith, then why isn't it possible to live in sin and not inherit the kingdom of heaven?
Because sin does not disqualify you from heaven. If so, then what did Jesus die for?
Well, I agree with you. This is a plot hole, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Jesus came to die for your sins, and yet sin can keep you out of heaven, how do we reconcile those things?
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Sin cannot keep you out of heaven.
But then 1 Corinthians 6 is a problem.
No, it's not, because it's talking about people who have not been washed. Some of you were idolaters. Some of you were these other things, sexually immoral, but you were washed. You were cleansed.
So you're saying people who are truly cleansed will never act a certain way?
No.
Oof.
I'm not saying that.
What about the people who claim to be true Christians and then go 10 years of fornicating and then come back and repent and see Jesus? Like, they're acting that way. They're doing those acts.
Yeah. It's a case of mistaken identity.
Maybe you have a mistaken identity and you're not saved.
No, what I mean is they forgot that they were cleansed. This is what it says in 1 Peter. I mean, and I have to look it up, but basically it says, those who live like that they've forgotten that they've been cleansed from their sins. They've forgotten who they are. They've forgotten that they're a child of God.
I can see Judgment Day now. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess, and then the Christian says, "But I forgot who I was. Don't annihilate me. Don't send me to hell. I forgot. Ignorance is no excuse," says Jesus.
Well, actually, 1 Corinthians deals with this well, PineCreek. It talks about how, some of us our works are gonna be burned up, right? Because they weren't right on the foundation of Christ. Some people are going to be saved as though they were just escaping the flames, right? Because basically they didn't have anything to offer God in their works, but they were still saved by Christ.
Okay. Well, I
told you weren't going to like my answers.
Well, yeah, because your answers
what's the problem with this? Like, I'm saying it's a free gift. Look, it's all done. Why do you have a problem with that?
Because you also say that you believe apostates are possible. So
leaving the faith. Going back to sin is not leaving the faith.
So do you believe that once you get the gift that you can give it back and get your money back?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay.
That's what I'm leaving open as a possibility. I think there's a few verses that give us a clue that people could possibly leave the faith like that. And so I'm leaving that open as a possibility, But I still believe the verse that you said, that if you're a child of God, no one can snatch you out of the Father's hand.
Yeah.
So I have a much greater confidence that even if you've gone astray, God has a way of bringing you back to himself.
Yeah.
So I have hope for you, PineCreek. I think you're a lost sheep, and he's going to come after you.
Really?
He's kind of letting you do your own thing right now.
But you know what you're saying here? You're saying that if Jesus is going to come after me, he has to light up my wet napkin.
Well, you must not have watched my How to Find God, because my suggestion number 2 is stop demanding that God produce a sign. Remember, Jesus went around doing miracles. Everyone they brought to him, he healed. He was doing tons of signs, but the only people he wouldn't do a sign for were the Pharisees, who were saying, show us a sign, show us a sign. The people who were demanding a sign as proof of his authority didn't get one. If they had just shown up anywhere that Jesus was and watched what he was doing, they would have seen tons of signs. And that's what I would say to you. Put down your wet napkin, because you're never going to get God to perform for you as a sign. Put aside your demand.
Why did God perform for Elijah then?
Working and see what Jesus is doing. Go to a place where Jesus is working. Go to the poor, go to people who are suffering, and then see what Jesus is doing there. You will see the signs that you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't believe that for 1 second, and here's why. It's not Jesus doing it, it's humans. Right?
Well, humans are, yeah. Whenever God did miracles in the Bible, he always used humans.
No, what I'm saying is, if I've never ever seen a human light a water-soaked napkin on fire, I mean, a real water, not trying to trick anybody, not having ethanol mix. I've never seen it happen. I want to see the laws of physics broken or suspended for a while, and that way I'm more confident that a God did it. Let's see God do that. And if God is the type of guy say, oh, I'm not, it almost sounds like God's like my daughter. If I tell her to clean her room, she doesn't. And if I don't tell her to clean her room, she does. Is God that petty like my daughter that, oh, you asked me for a miracle? No, I'm not going to do it. That's what he sounds like.
No, it's not like that. It's like, okay, do you have a boss?
No.
Okay. Well, are you the boss?
Yes.
Okay. So if your employees come...
I don't have employees.
Okay. Well, look, you can imagine a scenario, okay?
Yes.
If you were the boss, how would you like it if your employees were like, do this for me now? I will not work for you unless you do this for me.
Is that how you view me when I ask for the water? So, no. Okay,
absolutely.
No, but this is not sincerely. If your God is real, he's made me to value empirical evidence, okay? And we all value things differently, but that's just the way I am. And am I demanding God to do this? No. I'm saying, but if he wants me to believe in him and have my confidence raised, then I would like to see this. Am I saying, do it or else? No. If your God's real, he can do whatever he wants. He can say no, he can say yes. I'm just letting you and God know, which he already knows if he exists, he can read my mind, that this is what I would like to see in order for my confidence to be raised. It's sort of similar to you having your confidence raised when you go exactly into the communities that you talked about, seeing the poor, seeing God act in there. It makes you feel good. It makes you confident. And yes, my God, my Savior lives. But that doesn't work for me. For me, it's something a little different. I need to see like a pen when you drop, go up instead of down. Water-soaked napkin being lit on fire. My standards, in my opinion, are higher than yours because I can see Muslims, Mormons, all these religions that most people would deem false if they're Christian. Similar things happen. So it doesn't really demonstrate anything.
Well, you're talking to me, and I believe that, God works in other religions as well. I'm not saying they have all the correct information, and even Christians don't have all the correct information about God. but God
Yeah, I
works
know.
in people's lives and God does miracles. You know, people, you're right. People, it's people helping
I
the
have not
poor.
seen one
But you know
miracle in my
what?
life to the extent of what I'm talking about.
How many times have you asked for a miracle?
How many times in my life? Well,
Yeah.
how long have I had my YouTube channel? I do it almost every time I go live.
I'm talking about while you actually had faith.
Oh, when I had faith? I would say many times. Like I was from the background where uh, you didn't ask God for things because you didn't want to be petty and demanding, as you said. But I went to a Pentecostal church for 3 or 4 years, and I tell you, oh, we asked for miracles all the time. So whenever a loved one was sick, you would ask for a miracle. See, that's another thing. Why is it demanding if if a loved one gets terminal cancer and you pray to God, please cure them of cancer? Why is that not considered demanding?
Because you're doing it from compassion.
Okay, but isn't it compassionate for God to give me a sign so I believe my confidence is raised in Him so I can believe in Him? Isn't that a form of compassion too?
Well, but
We're talking about eternal life, not just physical
okay.
life.
But the difference is that, like, you're swimming already in an ocean of evidence for God.
No.
Okay. And it's as if you're asking for a single drop of water. Now, if you can't see that you're already swimming, then what good is that drop of water actually going to do for you?
See,
I,
but here's the difference. Like I disagree with that premise. I
yeah.
I think I'm in the desert of evidence and I'm asking for a drop of water. Now you view it as an ocean, but I see when I look around, I see zero reason to believe that your God exists, especially if he's all knowing, all good, all loving. He would not have created our universe to begin with. Just the fact that we're here points against your God existing. Now, there could be a God who's basically a schmuck and says, started the whole universe going and says, oh, look at those crazy ants down there killing each other and dying of. I mean, like, yeah, if you want to believe in that type of God, maybe that God exists. But yours? No. Don't tell me your God exists and can see the future, hates sin, created knowing that sin would result, hates when children die of cancer, but yet says, oh, I'll let it go this time. I mean, no.
Yeah. Well, this is a corrupt world system. So,
That your God made.
well, that our God is in the process of fixing.
He made a world that he loves to fix. He's a fixer upper. At what cost? Like,
Well,
you're making
do
it sound
you
like your
really
God.
do you undervalue your life experience so much?
When it comes to
If you, what I'm saying is, you're saying basically you're devaluing the entire human experience by saying you would not make this choice if you were God.
no, I admit some people would uh, desire suffering on others, kill children or whatever, but we call those people psychopaths. So if you want to compare your God to a psychopath, feel free. But you and I would not create worlds for our children that your God did.
Well, are you content for your children to live on in the world as it is?
Yes, but that's
You
because I live.
created children.
Yes, that's because I live in probably one of the best nations in the world. The atheists are mad right now because they don't like the United States. But you and I love America. I love Canada as well. And we have so much opportunity that most people. But I tell you, if I lived in certain other places in the world and I had the choice to reproduce or not, I wouldn't. If I saw, oh, our neighbor just reproduced and they died of malnutrition. Oh, my, yeah. It's just like, why bring people into this world when you know they're going to suffer and die, suffer and die, suffer and die, suffer and die?
Yeah. Well, PineCreek, I mean, you made the choice to bring children into the world knowing that they could get cancer.
Yes.
Knowing that even if you lived in a great country, They could still get in a car
Yes.
accident. They could still, there's
Yes.
any number of evil things that could happen to
But
them.
here,
And yet you thought it was worth it to allow their
yes.
existence.
Yes, but I would admit for selfish reasons. I had kids because I wanted kids selfishly to give me hope, to give me meaning. Now, here's the difference. Your God is not needy. I am. I can predict, but I cannot know with certainty the future. Your God can. Your God is responsible for everything that happens if he knows it's going to happen and if he has the power to change it. He is the author and the responsibiliter of it. That's a new word.
Well, if I was a Calvinist, maybe God would be responsible for it, but I'm not. And I'm actually kind of an open theist, so I don't know that God knew everything that would happen. And
Okay.
I don't know.
But you see what you're doing now. You're making God be a super PineCreek, really.
But I will set the open theism aside and just say, even if God did know completely the future, is it possible that God could have seen the future and known that the suffering would be worth it? And let me give you an example from my own life, okay?
Okay.
We just moved from Dubai like 7 months ago. I was thinking about what would be best for our cat. We decided it would be best for our cat to come here with us, not to give him away or something like that. But we knew he would have to endure a horrendous flight, multiple horrendous flights, and be in a cage, be scared, do a lot of suffering in order to get here. There's no way that I could properly communicate to him what he was going to experience, but I decided it was worth it. Okay? And in the same way, we here suffer. God knows that the outcome is worth it in the end. And, he doesn't want us to have to suffer. I didn't want my cat to suffer.
Are you a universalist?
No.
Okay. So there's people who suffer on planet Earth and will suffer either through eternal conscious torment or annihilationism. I mean, they don't have the opportunity.
Eternal conscious torment. No eternal conscious torment. And I've asked you, there's another complaint.
Strike that from the record.
I asked you, can I come on your channel and talk about hell? And you never responded to me. In fact, you don't respond to anything.
We're talking about right now.
But anyway.
Okay. So strike ECT from the record then. You said that it will be worth it, the suffering.
Yes.
But you also believe some people don't go to heaven.
Yeah.
Is it worth it for them?
Well, it's their choice. And so everyone
Was it their choice to be born? No. So was it really their choice to live a life of suffering and then die and not go to heaven?
Well, they're making the choice not to go to heaven because it's freely available to everyone. Anyone can go to God's kingdom.
But the bottom line is they're not getting compensated for their suffering. Right?
Well, they can, but they're choosing not to. If they look, if your employer gives you workers' compensation, they can't force you to take it. I mean, you could take it and put it in the dumpster, right? But they're giving it to you, and God is giving it to everyone.
Right, but I'm just pointing out a very obvious fact that there's people on planet Earth who, for whatever reason, whether they're in conscious rebellion or whether they're just not convinced by the core propositions of Christianity, they can have very rough lives, suffer greatly throughout their lives, die, and not be compensated in heaven at all, right? That's obvious. Yeah. And God saw that or predicted that, if you're an open theist, could have chosen not to create them, but did anyhow. Are we agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
To me, that's a schmucky thing to do.
Okay.
That's like me and you being parents, knowing with certainty or predicting very, very well that if we have a kid, they're going to be born with their skin inside out, live to the age of 3 in an incubator type thing, every second of every day, pain and suffering, and never get better and die. And we choose, let's create these people. I mean, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. We see it's going to happen. Let's do it. That's what
Well,
your God did.
I don't think the analogy follows because the baby doesn't have any choice. But
Well,
you do.
you're right. No, we don't have choices to be born in the condition we are. You don't have a choice to be born in the United States or in Somalia or whatever.
Yeah, and so how would you react if your children were like, "Why did you make me? That was selfish. You shouldn't have done
No,
that."
I would react very well. I would say, we made you because, yeah, we wanted kids for selfish reasons, and look what we gave you with this beautiful life in Arizona. I mean, you could have been born in Canada where it's cold, but no, 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 no. We loved you. For PineCreek so loved his children that he gave them great warmth in the state of Arizona. The problem of evil for your God is basically you're done. Your God does not exist.
You're so funny. I don't think that, for me, the problem of evil has nothing to do with God's existence. It's
Well, certain gods could exist, and you're actually, to be fair to you, your version of Christianity is less problematic than others because you do not believe in ECT. So kudos to you. But I really think in order for you to really solve the problem of evil, you have to become a universalist and you have to be an open theist, which you said you are. So you're almost halfway there. But even then, you're stuck with the problem of, why didn't God just create people and stick them in heaven to begin with? What's this with charade on planet Earth, like where you got tsunamis and so forth? But you're better than the like the Mike Wingers of the world. He does believe in ECT. He does believe God sees the future perfectly. I mean, he's dead in the water when it comes to the problem of evil. You have a little bit of hope, but you got to become a universalist.
Well, I mean, I'm open to it. I have to. I will not say that I've been diligent about looking into the possibility, but it just seems to contradict so much in the Bible that
right.
I don't think I could become a universalist.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I agree. But it will help with the problem of evil, though.
Well, I don't know. I just think it's, the problem of evil can easily be resolved with God's compensation. And I know you're saying, but not everyone gets it, but everybody has the opportunity to get it.
Yeah.
So isn't it possible that God can make your suffering
I can take your worldview on and I can say, yes, I can see someone suffering here on planet Earth and then gain a huge reward in the future. But when you say that, well, it's open to everybody, but the bottom line is some people, because of, let's say, the way they were raised or their cognitive abilities, they just never get there. They just never can believe it. It's like, do we really choose our beliefs? Like, they're just put in situations that they just find themselves not convinced, and they can have the crappiest life that you can imagine. And your argument now goes down the toilet because they're not compensated for whatever reason. They just couldn't find it in themselves to accept it. Now, is that their fault? Well, from the Christian point of view, you kind of have to say yes. But really, from God's point of view, where he knew this would happen and created them anyhow, no, it's God's fault, not the person's, because he's the one who created them. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. But PineCreek, what if what you're
Were you even listening to me?
Yeah.
Because when I asked, does that make sense? You kind of like.
Well, I'm not trying to dismiss it, okay? But, you mentioned things like cognitive abilities, okay? Mm-hmm. So I don't think anybody is blocked from the kingdom of God because of cognitive issues, right?
You're talking about, say, Down syndrome people.
Right. I mean, obviously, but you're talking about more than that. You're talking about an inability to accept this as truth, right? You're not talking about cognitive disabilities like that.
But so someone who's very, very smart but just is not convinced the core propositions are true, they don't get compensated. And the Down syndrome kid who doesn't have the ability to view what you're saying is, if God was really compassionate, he would make every human Down syndrome, if you're saying they're automatically going to heaven, or kill everybody as babies.
Well, this is what I would say. Jesus' salvation is powerful enough to overcome all of those issues. And I made a video about this that talks about what about good people who just, don't hear about Jesus or something like that. So let me even address the person that you're talking about, okay, that they want to believe, but they can't believe. And, it's just, well, what are they doing in the meantime? What are they doing with their life? Because Jesus said in Matthew 25, he said, when I gather all the nations together, I'm going to separate them like sheep from goats. And the sheep will say, oh, Lord, Jesus says, welcome into my kingdom, because when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was a stranger, you brought me in, right? So, and they said, Lord, when did we do this for you? And Jesus said, whenever you did this to the least of these, you did it for me.
What happened to the goats?
So what I would say is, what Jesus isn't just looking at, oh, do they accept this proposition about me dying on the cross? Okay. Where is your heart? Is it for the things of God's kingdom?
Okay, Rebecca, you would be very...
Oh, go for it. I know what you want to do. Go for it. I'm ready.
You know where I'm going with this?
I know where you're going.
Oh yeah, we'll see.
Because I've had pastors object to what I'm saying here, but good.
I want you to go. Where I'm going with this is I'm seeing a bit of an internal contradiction to what you said earlier when we started talking.
Yes.
On what basis within the parable were the sheep and goats separated?
Based on their works, on their deeds.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the only way that makes sense is because, and this also bugs me because I've heard that preached in church, and it makes it sound, the way that they preach it, they make it sound like Jesus is going to be dividing up the Christians that way, right? And then I'm like, dude, you're just making a works-based salvation. It doesn't make sense.
But maybe the works-based salvation is correct.
No, it's not. Remember, this is Jesus gathering all the nations, right? It's not the Christians he's gathering. Why are the sheep surprised that they're being welcomed into Jesus's kingdom? Because they did not belong to him. They were not Christians. They were not confessors of Jesus. They were surprised that they were being welcomed in. And why were they being welcomed in? Because through their actions, they showed which kingdom alliance they had. They were actually allied to God's kingdom. And so they're still being saved through Jesus. So
what made them a sheep? What made them a sheep? What makes a person a sheep?
Well, it's their righteousness.
Their works?
There's two. Look, if you want to know that you are righteous, you can be made righteous right now by Jesus Christ. And in fact, he's
but within the parable, you're now going out within the parable. What made a sheep? Acting like a sheep. What made a goat a goat? Acting like a goat.
Yes.
What happened to the sheep? Eternal life. What happened to the goats? Death.
Yes. And this is Jesus's word to all the atheists out there. If you can't believe in him, show that you're on his side. Do the good works. Go to the poor. Feed the poor. Invite the stranger in.
But then what happens though if we do that?
Of God's kingdom.
What happens if we do that? We'll be compensated?
You'll be welcomed into his kingdom.
So by doing certain works, I can gain a salvation.
It won't be because of your, you still need to be made righteous by Jesus. You're still getting in through him. It is still because of Jesus's sacrifice that you're getting in.
Yeah, but ultimately people can reject that sacrifice and not get in. So really it's up to us, not him.
So, yeah, but all right, if one of those sheep at the gate wants to say, no thanks, Jesus, I know which camp I'm in. I'm out of here. I'm not accepting that. But I seriously doubt, standing before the glory of Jesus Christ, anybody's going to reject that offer.
Oh, after death or before death?
After death.
Oh,
When you're actual.
are you saying you can be a non-Christian and become a Christian after death?
I believe so.
Oh, wow. That adds a new wrinkle into things. You know what? I like that. I'm going to wait till after I die to make my decision. That way I can have some real evidence. I tell you, the Christian. Yeah,
well,
I guarantee you,
meantime,
Christians are mad at you right now, Rebecca.
Oh, believe me, they're already mad at me. I'm not I'm not popular among the Mike Wingers and the Elisa Childers. If they knew who I was, they wouldn't like me at all.
Because if what you're saying is true, why? And if people find they're not convinced of Christianity or find Christianity burdensome for whatever reason, why become a Christian in this world if you can do it in the next?
Yeah, well, that's, you know what? If they're thinking that way, they truly have not experienced who Jesus Christ is and the beauty of being part of his kingdom and working for his kingdom. Now, I work for God because it is my pleasure to work for God. What else would I do? He's wonderful. He's perfect love. Why would I not work for his kingdom?
Because you don't believe that he exists? That's one reason.
Yeah.
But as your shirt says, he does, so you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
That's all you need is a t-shirt or a shirt.
Yeah. PineCreek, thank you for letting me spend so much time on your show.
Yeah, I was just about to wrap it up, but you sensed it in me already. So because you got the spiritual gift of discernment. But Rebecca, please don't ever be scared of me, okay? Just because I work for Satan. That's no excuse. Okay?
All right.
Okay. Thanks for coming on.
Bye.
Bye. I do think Rebecca's the new Mike Winger. And I do think she's better than Mike Winger because she's not going to be scared like Mike Winger is. Like Mike Winger has way too much to lose now by coming on here, but not her. She's lost everything already for Christ. But there's good news for us. Like it was very encouraging that she said, for all you atheists out there who just can't be convinced by the ocean of evidence, don't worry. You'll have a chance after you die. You can see with your own eyes Jesus in heaven or wherever. But yeah, that's the good news about Rebecca. The bad news was, I think I was pretty successful in showing the contradictions of her theologies, which is not her fault. It's because the book has plot holes. The book called the Bible has plot holes. What are you going to do? It's very clear. The Bible teaches that you're saved by what you choose, either choosing to accept the gift or choosing to do works like the sheep and the goats, running the good race like in the book of James. Very clear the Bible teaches these things. What you choose matters. But yet at the same time, it says that God chooses you. And it's a gift. And there's nothing you can do to deserve it, lest ye boast. Plot hole. This is why there's debates between Calvinists and non-Calvinists all the time. Thanks for the donation that I missed, and I was going to read it out loud, but if I would have gotten in trouble with Rebecca, so I did not. But Tony D, thank you for your donation as well. She just broke my wacky meter. She's not wacky. She's a Christian, and she believes these things that just sound wacky, because the gospel is indeed foolishness to those who are perishing. Do you think she's an honest conversationalist? Mike Winger seems dishonest at times and insecure. Yeah, I think, well, I want to be fair. I think I did sense, remember when I called it out, like when I asked her, does that make sense? It almost like she said yes, just to get the conversation over with or something. But that maybe is a false impression I had. But I do think she is, in a way, more honest than Mike Winger, because I can ask her questions like, or I can say that I'm working for the devil, and it bothers her, but she can still stay here and talk to me. But with Mike Winger, I honestly think that it's like, you're admitting you work for the devil? I can't talk to you. And I do think she is less defensive than Mike Winger. But as you saw with the whole theological issues, you could tell she's feeling the tension, because I know that the theology, I can know where to press, and she has to basically embrace the paradox. But I think Mike Winger's a little more defensive. You are the Wayne Gretzky of YouTube atheists. Oh, come on. No, I don't have the stats like Gretzky has. I'm like the Dave Semenko. Yeah. No, I'm not that big. Anybody who believes in Satan is a polytheist. I tend to agree with you, Nicholas. The God of this world. Christians are polytheists. They just think their God's the main top dog God. Yeah, how do you tell the difference between being in love with Jesus and the idea of Jesus? Thanks, no name. Is Todd Bertuzzi here? I would love to interview Cameron Bertuzzi's brother. Is his name Todd? That was Duke Kaboom, yeah. Again, I apologize for the donation I missed. There was a big one I missed. Something about... Oh yeah, something about being sexually attracted to someone who disagrees with you. How do I get in your poker game? Oh, email me. We have poker tonight. PineCreek Poker tonight. Real money, real poker, Texas Hold'em, tournament, cash game. So epistemology, email me at dll1671@yahoo.com and I'll send you the link. But please keep in mind, you have to be willing to spend real money and Venmo, PayPal, whatever to one of the top guys at the Wichita Home Office. Everything's legit though. No rake, just a family home game. Which apologist has the highest IQ? Pete Enns. Pete Enns is the apologist with the highest IQ. But he might not even consider himself an apologist. My apologies to Mike Winger. He was scheduled to come on and talk with Rebecca and myself, but we ran out of time.